rise and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing for a moment for our armed forces. There's so much to think about, the terrorist attacks in England, and just the whole world is kind of going crazy. So let's just take a moment. Thanks. Welcome everyone here. County Legislator Jim DeSalvo is here. Police Chief is here. Our wastewater treatment plant supervisor is here. Appreciate that. Okay. Could I have any public comment on agenda items? We okay, Sean? If there's no public comment on agenda items, I'll continue into new business to approve the minutes which you have before you. We had a regular meeting on May the 15th, 2017, and we had a special meeting on the 26th of May, 2017.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Trustee Murphy. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Trustee Livesey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have a resolution, amendment to Chapter 106 of the Village Code. Yes. I'm sorry? Okay, so we'll open up the public hearing. I'm not sure what time it is. What time is it? 5 after? Okay. So we'll open up the public hearing at 5 after 7 on this amendment to Chapter 106. It was duly printed, posted in the News of the Highlands. And this goes back not many weeks ago when we talked about the key for Bog Meadow and changing the year from June to May 31 to January 1 to December 31. You'll see that right there, Section 4B. So is there any public comment on this amendment change to Chapter 106? Okay, you okay, Jim? I'll close the public hearing. You have the time?
7:06.
7:06, okay. Public hearing is closed. Next on the next on the agenda,
Do we have to vote on this, Joe? Or no? I'm sorry. Are we doing this resolution?
1 second.
Why not? Yeah, get it off the table.
Yeah.
You want to do
Yeah.
it? You want to do it now?
Okay, so the next on the agenda is a resolution to adopt Chapter 106, which is the amendment to the, that we just spoke about, just had a public comment about. Whereas the introductory local law titled Amending Chapter 106 of the Village Code was introduced before the Board of Trustees of the Village of Highland Falls on June 5th, 2017, and whereas upon notice duly published and posted, a hearing was held on the said local law on the 5th of June, 2017. Whereas public discussion was heard concerning the merits of the said local law, and after hearing from those present wishing to speak, acknowledging that no written comments had been received, the Board of Trustees declares the public hearing closed. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the introductory local law titled amending Chapter 106 of the Village Code of the Village of Highland Falls be and hereby is adopted as Local Law 1 of 2017 of the Village of Highland Falls on June the 5th, 2017. That particular sentence is ahead of what we're going to do now. A motion, I'll make a motion, and I need a second.
I'll second.
Seconded by trustee Livesey.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just before you adopt that, it was introduced, did you say June 5th? It wasn't introduced on June 5th. It was introduced at least a month ago.
Oh,
May 15th.
May 15th, that's the date that goes on the top.
Yes.
Okay. Motion has been made, seconded has been made. Roll call.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carried. Next, we have our Orange County Legislator, Mr. DeSalvo.
Thank you. Just wanted to get put on the agenda because I wasn't sure if I was going to be more than 3 minutes, but Mary Jane told me I couldn't be any more than 3 minutes, so I'll try to make this quick. A couple of things that have happened in the last month or so at the county that really affect us, and probably the one big ticket item is this North Monroe petition that was submitted by 2,200 residents of the Village of Curious Joel. It's been in the process through the county. It first started in the Rules Committee, which I sit on, and actually Elise was there last Thursday when we voted on a couple things regarding that petition. First being a resolution regarding setting public hearings, which will be 2 public hearings to hear from the petitioners and obviously residents of Monroe and Woodbury and any part of Orange County. And the second part was a seeker, which is initial seeker. You folks are familiar with that, and the folks at home. It's an environmental study. It's part 1. It's the petitioners, when they submitted their 2,200 signatures, stated that it wasn't a type 1 or type 2 action. But we had our folks at the county look at it and feel that we typed it as an unlisted action. So there's going to be a study. It's a preliminary seeker study, and I would imagine there'll be a full study after we get the initial one done. So I have the copies of the resolutions that were voted on. Just want to make sure the board knows what's going on, and also for the town of Highlands, which I'll report on Monday to the town board. We are also at that meeting, we voted on a new dial-a-bus for the town. So the town will be getting a new dial-a-bus. There was 17 vehicles that are replacement vehicles for the county, and we're one of them. So I'm going to submit the 3 resolutions that we passed this last Thursday. Just coming forward with this, just because it is an issue, even though we're on this side of the mountain, it's a county issue. Folks in Port Jervis are talking about it, Warwick, everywhere, so just want you guys to be up to speed on what's going on. And it's just started, the issue at North Monroe, or the petition with North Monroe, it just really has come to a head in the last couple months. I don't know what the timeline's looking like right now, but the public hearings are set, and there's still some negotiations with county officials and some folks that live in Monroe. So I'm going to give these 3 to the clerk, and she can make copies at her convenience. Thanks. I'll take any questions if you have. I'll take questions from the audience if it's okay.
You have a comment, but go ahead.
Sure. Yeah.
You said there were 3?
Yeah, there were 2 votes on, most recently on the North Monroe petition. And one is also, we have the grant, transportation grant came through. And so one of them was for the town of Highlands for a new dial-a-bus.
The one for the Curious Joel.
Yeah.
Is it just the 2? What they have?
No,
One was taking water from the Cornwall?
nope, this has nothing to do with water. This only has to do with 380 acres of property that they're trying to acquire and create a new town called the Town of North Monroe, or if the legislature decides to name it something else. It's approximately 380 acres. 2,200 signatures were submitted by folks from Curious Joel to the county. So the county has an obligation through state law to go through a process of seeing if it's something that will be subject to, not subject to, but vote on a permissive referendum, so that the folks of the town of Monroe will get to vote on it. So right now, it made through the Rules Committee, which is a statutory committee of the county, and we'll move forward with a full vote of the legislature after public hearings, and depending on how long they go, a public hearing could be 5 hours for the county, because there's a lot of people, it affects different, different towns, so it might be a different turnout.
Do you have the 2 dates that you mentioned, there's going to be 2 public hearings?
Yeah, yes, I can give them to you. I have them.
Okay, Sharon can't, but we need to get up to the mic, because people are at home saying I can't hear. So, please.
Barbara Minetti, resident of Highland Falls. Just wanted to know if there was any contact with NYSERDA on getting a hybrid or climate-smart bus. I know the town and the village are working with the the communities program with NYSERDA.
The federal grant, these dollars that we're getting on the Dial-A-Bus are all federal dollars. So it's actually broken down in 2 tiers. The first tier goes to basically the cities and more areas that have a higher population. But these all come from federal transportation grants. So they really depict what can buy. Actually, they purchase the truck and they basically send it down to us, or we go pick it up.
All right, Jim, the last thing I want to say to you is not about anything you spoke about, but to thank you for it was a great meeting that we had at my office with many people, local police department, the supervisor was there, the DA's office, lead investigators, and the sheriff's department about our drug issue. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda is the Juneteenth event. Is there anyone here from Juneteenth event? Okay. So you have before you a letter, the Juneteenth committee will purchase the insurance policy needed for our 2nd annual Laura Lanier Juneteenth Festival on June 24th and 25th, 2017. Mayor Patrick Flynn waived the $50 fee for this historical event. Now, the records show that while it was verbally waived, there was no action by the board. So if the board wishes to waive the fee, we can do that.
I'll make a motion that we waive the fee.
Second it.
For the, okay, motion by trustee Murphy, second by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And we do have the insurance.
Yep. It's on the second page.
Next, we have a request from, is the paperwork in?
Yeah, all the, we have all the paperwork. Full slate of events,
All right, so,
24th, and then on the 25th.
Right here.
okay. So the second page, we just did waiving the fee. The third page is their insurance. And the next page is the event/parade application. I'm trying to, so proposed date for the event is a basketball. They have, I'm not,
They first have a parade,
yeah, it doesn't, where does it say parade, though?
that's the 3rd paper.
No, I have the first one here.
It's over here. It says here, parade.
No, I know that, but I have this one. This is my next, I'm going to go in order that they're in the packet here. Okay, it looks like a veterans basketball tournament. So they have that in here. Then the next event is the 2nd annual Laura Lanier. Yeah,
No,
Okay.
it's right down there.
But that's what they have insurance for, I understand. Next looks like a band, and the next one looks like the parade, and it is finally become to your parade, from Sacred Heart to Memorial Park, and then the last thing is a bandstand at Roe Park, which is music. So it looks like it looks like 4 events, but there could be more mixed in here. Am I correct, Gina? Yeah. So you'll see that some events are on the 24th, some are on the 25th. If we could approve these events as submitted and as the insurance is given for, it would be good. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by trustee Ramus, second by trustee Livesey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, next we have the grade 8 Highland Falls Intermediate School picnic. They want to have it on June the 19th at Roe Park. These are annual things that the schools have. It's the end of the year school picnic. Actually, it's the end of the year graduation picnic. So again, it's on the 19th of June, 10:30 to 2:30. If we could approve that. Insurance is on the back of the page.
Motion to approve.
Motion by trustee Murphy. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by trustee Ramus. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have another event. This is the time of year Highland Falls has a lot of events that I'm so happy about. So here's, the next one will be at the end of August, August the 26th. This is the Highland Falls Freedom Ride. So they want to use Roe Park. It's a motorcycle organization. They raise money for veterans that are in the hospitals. And they will come through town. You'll see insurance on the second page. And they want to use, they want to use Roe Park. Page 2 is the gentleman's name that he's had a couple of visits to the Village Hall. Gina, are you comfortable with the insurance and everything provided? Okay. So if we could approve this event on the 26th of August.
Make a motion.
Motion by trustee Livesey, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion, opposed, motion carried.
They also have a music permit request.
Okay, so let's take care of the music request. And so I would ask you that, I would ask the board to waive, being they're raising money for veterans in the VA hospitals, that we waive the $50.
Make a motion.
Motion.
$50.
Motion by trustee Howard, is there a second?
Second.
Is that your Charlie? Second by trustee Murphy, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now the next on the agenda is our EAP renewal. That's the Employee Assistance Program that's out there for all the employees of the village that they can utilize. There's no increase from last year. It's $1,802. This is a very worthy program that we offer all the employees. And their families, that's right. That's right.
I'll make the motion that we renew with Catholic Charities.
Second.
Motion by trustee Murphy, seconded by trustee Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Gina, do we have to do this, can we just authorize the mayor to sign this agreement?
They're approving, you know, full equipment and
Yeah,
be part of the
okay. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, next, our Village clerk has been working hard the last, well, she works hard every day, but I saw her in the office a couple of days for hours with our insurance carrier, as we do a couple times a year, especially in the beginning of our fiscal year, and going over everything, all our policies and what we're covered for, and do we have enough insurance, and you have that before you, and there's an increase. Increases are kind of annual, but this is an increase of $2,683.06 over last year. $2,683.06. So I need to, the board needs to approve this recommendation.
I'll make a motion we approve.
Motion by trustee Livesey, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Ramus, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Insurance is tough.
Yeah. Okay, the next document you have there is dealing with the DASNIA grant, and we need a second signature on this. And I've recommended the village clerk, Regina Taylor, only, well, for different reasons, but she's there at the village hall, so it works out well. So if we could have a motion to have her to authorize her signature on this DASNIA grant, it would be good.
Motion?
Second.
Motion by trustee Howard, seconded by trustee Murphy, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Property maintenance. I like to see these property, well, I don't like to see them, but since there are property maintenance issues out there, I like to see them on the agenda like we did last meeting. So there's property maintenance for 22 Mountain Avenue, and then there's a lot right next door that belongs to 22 Mountain Avenue. So there's two pieces there that have property maintenance, and one piece on 17 Liberty Street. And they're for both the same reason, grass, it's too high, and they were asked to cut it. I will tell you, there were others for the agenda tonight, but they did take care of their properties, and that left us these three, 22 Mountain Avenue plus the vacant lot next to it that goes with 22 Mountain Avenue and 17 Liberty Street.
You know, I'd like to just say, though, the building department is working very hard, but needless to say, we have recognized, and we know out there that there's other properties that definitely need violations too.
Yeah.
And they're not here. There's a handful of them. So I don't want anyone to think that we're not looking into that, because there's a lot. Sorry.
No. So as the last time, I'll read one resolution because I believe the attorney said that was allowed, and I'll just do it again.
So
Village,
Louise,
well, I'm sorry.
we need a public hearing. You need to open the public hearing.
Okay, that's right. Is there anyone here from either one of these locations, 22 Mountain Avenue or 17 Liberty? Anyone have any comments? Yes?
These properties, I'm not familiar with them. Are they, are there people living there, or are they renting houses?
I know 17 Liberty, there's someone.
I was just wondering, because
And you know the other one, it's the Purple House on Mountain Avenue.
I just wanted to know, because I have an issue with neighbor with not cutting the grass.
Call the building department. No comments, I'll close the public hearing. The Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees resolution concerning violations of property maintenance. The property location is 22 Mountain Avenue, vacant lot, and 17 Liberty, whereas long-standing violations of the village's property maintenance law, Chapter 170 of the Village of Highland Falls Code has existed at 22 Mountain Avenue and 17 Liberty Street, designated on the tax map, whereas the property owner or owners have been given due notice of said violations and have been directed to correct the violations. And whereas the property owner or owners were given due notice of a public hearing to be held by the Board of Trustees on June 5th, 2017 at 7 p.m. to determine whether the violations have been properly remedied and whether to order that corrective action be undertaken by the village to correct said violations at the property owner's cost and expense, to bill said cost and expense to the property owner, and to levy same against the property. And whereas a public hearing was duly held by the Board of Trustees on June the 5th, and whereas the owner did not, in any 3 locations, did not appear, and whereas the owner has not taken steps to correct the violations and the violations still exist, and whereas the Board of Trustees is authorized pursuant to Section 170-6 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize that the village undertake the remedy, such violations at the property owner's cost and expense. Now therefore be it resolved that the village, its contractors or agents shall enter upon the property to correct the violations that all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, and corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such charge shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner, if not paid within 30 days of notification to the last known address of the property owner, such shown on the village tax records. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by trustee Howard. Is there a second? Trustee Ramus. May I have roll call?
Aye.
Aye.
Good.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a community service announcement, if you will. Barbara? This is a private, you're going to explain it, right, that it's not government, it's private? Okay.
Hi, I'm Barbara Minetti, resident of the village. Tonight I'm here representing the Highland Falls Economic Development Corporation, which was created by the village, but it's a totally separate entity. And this is a total volunteer community service that I'm announcing tonight. And I'm going to read my statement so I can move my slow southern drawl along, get through this. I would like to introduce the Solarize Highlands campaign to help bring climate-smart energy to the village and town. It is part of the greater Solarize Hudson campaign that is sponsored by Sustainable Hudson Valley, another nonprofit, and is supported by NYSERDA and Orange County Planning. Many communities in Orange, Sullivan, and Ulster counties are participating. The not-for-profit Highland Falls Economic Development Corporation is serving as the volunteer sponsor for Solarize Highlands. Representatives from each participating community gathered and reviewed the credentials of several solar companies. 3 companies were chosen, 1 for commercial and 2 for residential installation. Members of our community who choose installation through this program will receive a free assessment of their home to determine whether it is feasible and beneficial to install solar, installation of top-tier quality equipment, a group discount of at least 10%, state and federal tax incentives if you pay these taxes, and working with a group that is trained to help make the process and decisions easier for you than fielding cold calls and so many choices out there. It is also possible to receive a free assessment of your home to determine ways to improve its energy efficiency, even if you don't go with solar. If you are interested, you can request assessments now. You can email HFNYEDC, that's Highland Falls, New York, EDC, @gmail.com. Call me at 446-5901, or pick up a flyer at Village Hall or around town. There are tentative dates at the Highland Falls Library for 2 workshops with Solarize Hudson Valley, Sustainable Hudson Valley, the vendors and members of the EDC. Here you will have a chance to review a presentation, ask questions directly to the vendors, and sign up for assessments. The first date is Wednesday, June 28th at the library. The second, Tuesday, July 18th. There will also be information tables during the summer where you can discuss the possibility of solar energy and home assessment with members of the Solarize Highlands team. There will be a table at the Juneteenth celebration on June 24th and 25th. On July 15th at the common room, in the common room of the library. I believe that's the day the indoor art exhibit opens downstairs there. And then there will be information tables on various Sundays at the farmers market. Also, again, flyers in Village Hall and around the village. The program extends through the end of August. If there are 10 installations as a result, the village, and this is the government, will receive 10 credits under the NYSERDA Climate Smart Communities program, and that goes toward eligibility for grants and opportunities. The same is true for the town if 10 installations are contracted there. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, very much.
One quick question.
Yeah,
Ms. Minetti, one quick question, please. When is the next EDC meeting that you guys generally have?
It's the second Monday of...
Every month?
Every month.
Okay.
At 7 upstairs in Village Hall, and it's open to the public. And I think that today, it's going to have to be canceled though because I'm on vacation.
Okay, thank you.
Otherwise...
okay,
Quick question.
yeah.
Are municipal buildings eligible for the free energy assessment and efficiency? And
Unfortunately not.
thought you were going to say that.
Yes,
Never
this
mind.
is for community, this is a community residential program. And another question people have asked, I will double check on it if there's anyone in this category. If you own a home that happens to be rented, it's open to individual owners. So I think individual owners who rent can be eligible, but I would have to double check on that. Someone has asked me that question.
Okay, next on the agenda is to approve bills. We have $18,851.07 for fiscal year 16-17, and those bills are still coming in. And then our new year, which started on June 1, for 17-18, $155,277.12.
Motion to pay the bills.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by trustee Murphy, second by trustee Livesey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so some comments. Mr. Zint, I'm glad to see you here because I was going to use your name tonight, as I will now. And I appreciate your concern for the village and its well-being. In talking to our wastewater treatment plant operator, John Jones, who's over here, you were able to save the village some money. And any money is a lot of money to me. Whether it's hundreds or it's thousands, it doesn't matter. So through some equipment that Mr. Jones was trying to buy, he found out and had gotten prices. He had found out from you that there were other companies out there with better prices. So you saved almost $800 on that. And then the second thing, and this is a little bit of your business, but not your whole business, the fire inspections. Now, we didn't get a price from you. You don't do this, but you gave the wastewater treatment plant a company to call, which ended up giving us a better price than where we were getting it. Instead of $1,500 a year, it now, for the same thing, will cost $350. So that's good money. That's good money. So, it's important to talk to people and see what else is going on out there, and that paid off. Thanks, guys. To Gary Boyce, I want to commend also, because Gary saved the village somewhere between $1,500 and $1,700 by something that hadn't been done, and he decided to paint the 2 new dump trucks himself, in-house. So there was just a little under $2,000. So that's all very, very good money. The Beautification Committee, a couple of the members are here, Cindy and Susan. I want to say that I know, but I really don't. I know a little bit how hard it was, the work that you guys did in the short time, because you were determined to make the Village of Highland Falls, especially Main Street, worthy to the folks that live here. Always, I say, to the folks that live here, but then to the West Point, to the folks that were coming to the West Point graduation, thousands, and for Memorial Day. Now, you did that, all the work that you did. So when the folks see Main Street and you see the beautiful hanging baskets on the telephone poles, and you see the flower baskets on the sidewalk, and the ones in front of the library, and the welcome to Highland Falls signs, and the beautiful rose bushes right down here on the top of Havens Road by My Town Marketplace. That was all done, in a couple of weeks.
Who's counting?
Well, it was very hard, and the weather wasn't always cooperative, and we had some extremely hot days in there. And matter of fact, I kind of scolded both of you to get in, because it was too much, and I was worried. But that doesn't matter. Look at what you did. So many compliments to both of you. So many. So many. Thank you. So I always go like this when I look at you guys, because you're the pyramid. You're the top. Everything goes through you for beautification.
We did have help.
You had help, but you didn't have a lot of help. You didn't have a lot of help, but you had help. And your husband. Whether you wanted to or not. Okay. So now when we talk about 3 areas, I'll say 3 parks, Roe Park, Lady Cliff Park, and Memorial Park. Again, I have put you in charge of those parks for when renovations need to be done. If something new wants to go in there, if someone wants to propose something, it runs through you. And then it comes to the village. But there's one theme, the best that we can keep it. So if anyone has any plans for any of the parks, see Susan or Cindy. And they're doing a master plan now with some other volunteers. And they're going to be presenting that to us. So this is great. This is great. Thank you so much. Okay. The town supervisor had asked me to do a letter of support, which I did. And it doesn't need to be read, but it was for the school zone down there in Fort Montgomery, right on 9W. And so this went to DOT as part of the request that the town's working on. So it's on file if anyone wants to read it. Orange and Rockland, as I reported last meeting, and there'll have to be a future meeting, maybe with our engineer and some other folks with the LED lights. But again, just by making a phone call, they do the LED lights, and over the course of not long, we can get all of our lights replaced. And the good news is we won't own them. We won't own them, so it won't cost us anything to repair them or replace them. Trees, which I'll get together with you, had the meeting about trees. We're going to put trees on the sidewalks in the Main Street in the Village of Highland Falls, like there used to be. I think we have one up here in front of the library. So Orange and Rockland has a department that work with you. They know the kind of trees that'll grow on Main Street, won't interfere with their lines, and it's quite a list of many, many different trees. And so that'll be a committee's recommendation to the village board when we get there. Okay? Question?
I would like to work with the ladies, if they're going to be the ones picking out the trees, because I do some landscaping, so
I'll make a copy of this for you.
that'd be great.
There's a lot, I was surprised the amount of trees.
Because we're having a beautification committee meeting next Monday, so it'd be nice to take the information to them too, for their input. Thank you.
Art walk, a minute, 30-second minute, longer?
I'm giving that to Charlie.
Okay.
Oh, okay, Charlie, I didn't know that.
Elise, did you receive the email that I sent to you about the art walk and you were in
Aye.
court?
Aye.
Okay. Well, very briefly, you had prepared a release for us last year when a village resident who is an artist very graciously put 2 of his pieces on display. So they're semi-permanent until they're sold. So it was written with wording about the artist releasing the village from liability with those pieces. With the art walk, that is a Chamber of Commerce sponsored event, the Chamber has taken out
Not just
the liability policy. So what we've encountered is some pushback by the artists that this release form is actually too strict. It addresses a release of liability from us when in fact the chamber is insuring them. So the organizers of the art walk sent out an email to the artists who were concerned about signing this. The contract originally stated that the liability insurance was coming from Highland Falls. This was an error. Our liability insurance is actually through the Chamber of Commerce. This means the Highland Falls Village contract is only to hold them harmless since they are letting us show on village property. Therefore, you are not signing your coverage away by signing the Highland Falls release.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. You
Okay.
sent that material to me. Okay.
It's
Just say one thing. Elise, the only problem is we have installations happening like now, today. So, well, it hasn't, we don't have anything in yet, but it's happening immediately. So if you could let me know as soon as possible. She hasn't released that to the artist yet, that paragraph, but the sooner the better.
Just a question, is Fort Montgomery going to be included in having some of these?
You know, when we went to talk to them earlier, we told them that they couldn't be this year because we didn't raise money for them and we didn't do it with Collaborative Concepts this year. But what we're trying to do with them is we have one piece by Ed McElroy. It's the Indian on the horse, the sort of bronze color. It's beautiful. And he's...
Cindy, I'm just worried about the folks at home. I don't want them to turn us off because they can't hear us.
And this is important.
We have one piece.
So this is about the art walk.
Yes, yes. And Fort Montgomery
And
will...
putting one piece down at Fort Montgomery?
Yes, and that will be not part of this year's art walk, but it will be Ed's piece that we're going to put in, actually anytime, as soon as we get the board to okay where they want to put it. They don't want it at Patriot Garden, we know that, we understand why. But actually your dad gave me a couple of other ideas. And so we're going to look at those, talk to Ed, and he's going to actually put it in there now. It won't be part of the art walk, but it will be a piece that's just there for this year. And then next year, we've spoken to Collaborative Concepts, and what we're going to do is go ahead with the fundraising after this one is all in place and try to go as far as we can, or I don't know if we want to continue just going down and through Fort Montgomery, or maybe start on the other end and, work our way back. We're going to figure something out though, but they do want to be involved in
I
it.
thought the mobile gas station down at Fort Montgomery across from that was Indian Grounds. Lori Tortella, I believe, brought that up one time at a board meeting. So you might want to talk to her about that.
Okay, that would be a perfect place for it then. Okay, all right, well, thank you. Okay.
But I've got to commend Cindy and Susan. They have really picked up the cudgels, and the art walk is going to be sensational. I've seen the pictures of the sculptures, and I hope there are no controversies about the subject matter, but they're really good looking.
As long as the artists don't drop out because of this that's our issue.
I'd never do.
Thank you.
And some big names in the works, too.
Thank you. So that's coming up, the Art Walk. And so this weekend, we have the... goes down? Okay. We have the walk and bike ride for cancer research. A very, very big event. Some folks on their bikes are going to go 100 miles. A lot of the day's events will happen in the parking lot across from Sacred Heart. I know they're having 2 different bands, obviously at different times. So it should be a great, I saw the forecast is going to be good, and for runners, for bicyclists, and it's a great cause. So come out and support them. There'll be food, and it'll be very festive, okay? And then the following day, my friends from Rolling Thunder will be arriving around noon. Please come out to welcome them. You can stand anywhere on the sidewalk from Thayer Gate to Memorial Park. You can be at Memorial Park where there'll be a ceremony and a couple of special things this year. You're not going to want to miss it. So if you're on Main Street, which is great, come down to Memorial Park after the motorcyclists park and get off. And they'll come down to the park themselves. It's something you won't want to miss.
That's Sunday?
Yes.
Time
So
limit?
they get here around noon. I have, and I'll put them, are the originals up at the Village Hall, Gina, in the conference room, about the dams? West Point? Yes. Yes. They're binders. There's 2 binders up at the Village Hall. These are copies that I have for myself, but this is the inspection of the 2 dams at West Point. You have Lusk Reservoir, and then you have the Craxton Lake Dam. So they're interesting. It shows what'll happen if the dams break, and I would think you'd be interested in this, Jim. I think comment period is over, but look at it.
I have looked at it.
Okay. The water, I don't know if anyone has any questions on water, but the water is back on through our water, our system. We did flush hydrants, and I think Fort Montgomery did it too. They're supposed to do it at the same time we do it, within a day. And I haven't heard anything about brown water. Today's Monday. I don't know, maybe last Thursday or Friday. I'm waiting a couple of more days. If we don't hear anything, if you guys hear anything about brown water, please let me know. If we don't hear anything about brown water, a lot of it then, or all of it, had to do with a couple of breaks we had that are being fixed, and flushing of the hydrants, which normally is done around April, but because of the oil spill, we couldn't do it. So it was many, many weeks later, which even caused more of the water to turn brown. So we're hoping that that is over with now and cleared up. So before I get into this, I want us to also take another moment, as we did in the beginning of the meeting. Beautiful lady passed away, 89 years old, Elsie Sear. Now, Elsie Sear was not only a lifelong resident of the community, but I don't even know how many years, but a long, long time Highland Falls Police Department dispatcher. And so she gave a lot to this community. Daytime, nighttime, incidences, and, you know, the dispatcher, the police and the firemen go out, but the dispatcher holds it all together. So if we could just, we don't have to stand, just take a moment for Elsie Sear. Great lady. Thanks. So I asked you all to bring your calendar books. So we have some meetings we have to attend to. The Old Guard Hotel representatives would like to meet with us on Monday, the 10th of July at 2 p.m. That okay with everyone? Because I have not responded back.
Two p.m. Is there any way we can make it a little bit later, like 3 o'clock?
Yeah, I can ask, but now then I'm going to be going back and forth, but I'll do the, you want it at 3?
Well, if they can't make it at 3,
No, they're gonna-
2 will work for me.
No, they're
But
gonna-
3 o'clock would be better.
I'll call them.
The only thing I ask is if, and I notice, I'm not trying to stress you on this here, but I'm good at 2. And I know that, but if it's at 3, that's fine for me too, but just so I know how to put in.
Yeah.
If we can
Yeah,
get that in there.
yeah. You'll know, probably tomorrow, you'll know.
Is 2 better for you, Mark?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, because if 2 is better, then I'd fit my schedule.
2, 3, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If the entire board is meeting, does it have to be noticed as a meeting, or will it be executive session because it's dealing with the developer's contract?
I would like to make an opinion on that. I believe you can meet in a workshop, but I really want to take a look at the law on that.
Right now, July 10th at 3.
Tentative.
Yeah. All right, I need another date to interview attorneys. And keep in mind, I need another date to interview engineers. Just give me something and I'll make it happen. Anybody have a suggestion? Come on, guys. Give me something.
Well, for myself, I'm good with the attorney that we have, so I'll attend the meeting, whichever you want to choose to do, but that's my opinion.
That's nice, Murph. We haven't interviewed yet, and that's okay for your opinion.
Yep.
We still need to have a meeting, so barring that, we need a meeting.
July, you want to do it in July?
Sure. What do you think, Brian?
At the end, near the end of July? That way people have vacations and stuff?
Okay, just throw out a date, and then that'll be it.
What would the last Monday of July be?
The 31st.
31st.
Okay, so let's do it on Monday, the 31st, at 3 p.m. Jim,
For the lawyers?
does that work for you, 3 p.m.?
Well, I think it should be in the evening, so,
Well, that's fine, too.
Okay.
You want to do it Monday at 7 p.m.?
That's fine.
are you on the 31st? How's
I'm
6
good.
p.m.? How's 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.'s better.
6 would be better.
Okay, engineers.
That's a good one.
We need that sooner rather than later.
When are they ready?
They're not ready until I tell them the date.
Okay, but I mean, we
I can't tell them to be ready without a date.
I mean, we have a choice of the engineers that we're,
Could we do that in the evening on the 10th, that we
Sure.
have the two?
July 10th?
Make a day of it. Old Guard in the afternoon, engineers in the evening.
6 PM. Is that good?
Works for me.
So we're gonna go 7:10 now?
No,
No,
that's for the engineers,
The
Brian.
10th, still Monday the 10th.
Okay.
2 PM is the Old Guard, 6 PM is the
Okay, got it.
engineers.
3 PM.
Oh, wait.
For
No,
Old Guard.
yeah, right. It's 6 PM for the.
Got it? All right, next one. Highland Falls Marina.
Can we schedule that for June?
Well, we should. So we go back to June.
Can we do it after our next meeting, which would be on the 19th?
It's too long.
Okay.
You want to stay, if Monday seemed to be good, we can do it on the 26th. But I don't want to go too far with this one. I mean, we don't have anything during the week here, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 21, 20, 21, 22. Is everybody booked up on all those dates?
Wednesdays and Thursdays aren't good for me.
Well, that's 2 days of the week gone, Merv. So now,
No, but-
okay, so
Thursday?
Thursday,
Or-
huh?
You can do Thursdays or you can't do Thursdays? Merv?
Well, I'm on duty at 5. So, if you want to do it before, that's fine. But this, the old guard, and with, I have a lot of experience in this. I have a lot of questions, so I don't want to rush a meeting. You know, I'd rather have.
But this is the
no-
Highland Falls Marina.
Exactly.
You
I
said the
don't-
old guard.
No, I'm sorry, did I say that? I'm sorry. But I don't want to, have to worry about,
I'll tell you what, if everyone's okay with Monday, June 26th at 5 PM.
Got it.
Charlie likes earlier meetings, and so do I.
6 o'clock?
5 PM.
That's what I said. I sound like 6.
All right? All right, one more. The One Government Study, an update from the contractor.
What do you say, a Friday afternoon?
I can't.
You can't. How about a Tuesday?
Do we need to open up that to the public? No?
Which one? All of
What
them?
government study?
I mean, it will be, it was an overview for us, and then I was going to give it to the committee, for which I have to name, and then at that point, it's really to the public. They have to be brought in.
About
So
July
this would
11th.
be- oh, sorry. This would be a workshop for the board to be brought up to speed.
July 11th, well,
How's July 11th?
we have, you got it right down the 10th too, don't you?
You got the 10th already?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Tuesday.
How about July 11th, a Tuesday, July 11th,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock? Great, guys, that was easy. And you all have the waterfront study, correct?
Although they were, I thought they were going to get a hard copy to.
They're supposed to, we were talking about it.
Okay. Merv? Everything?
I do. So, for the recreation, a lot of the spring programs are nearing the end right now. I was talking to Aaron, he's got a whole handful of programs he's putting together for the summer, which is going to include a volleyball program out at Long Pond. I need to contact Gina, and I want to talk with the board. I want to start taking bids for resurfacing the basketball court up there. I think I got my hands on some money. That's not going to include the taxpayers, so that's a good thing for you all. Also, the pool, we need to talk about resurfacing on the pool. That's an issue up there, and we need to move on that quickly. So we need to discuss that.
Before water, or now you mean?
Now
like
we do. Now we do, because the pool will be opening soon, and it's in bad shape. It's got a lot of cracks and everything else in it, and it's losing water. So we don't want to keep losing water in it with that.
Can you meet with Kevin Hurst and Gary Boyce on that?
I can.
And bring back what they
I
want
can.
to do?
I can. And I'm also a New York State certified pool operator, so I got a lot of say in that. So we'll work on that. Also, the fence up at Roe Park where the pavilion is, there's about 5 sections that are leaning down. It's also becoming a hazard. And then where the old bathhouse is, that fence is collapsed over there. So we're going to have to either see if our guys can look at that or get a fence company in. But that needs to be taken care of quickly. Another problem up at Roe Park, I don't know if anybody's been up there, but the playground area is horrendous with the geese crap. It's all over the place where it's so bad, I don't know if it's a little bit of a health issue, to tell you the truth. I have photographs that I took of it, and I got to tell you, it's that bad. I don't know what...
Well, we've had that before, because the geese have been around. We took a high-powered pressure washer, and it worked.
Yeah, we're
Now,
going
that
to...
might need to be done periodically.
We'll have to do something up there and maybe think about a way to keep the geese out of there. Their families are building up there, though, I got to tell you.
Border collies. We get a border collie, we can kennel him somewhere. He's the village border collie. I can have a contest to name him and put him over at Roe Park. No, I'm dead serious. Border collies get rid of geese.
Well, I got a little doggy that was going
That
after
dog
him.
you have ain't getting rid of the geese.
The other day he went after a couple of them, and he actually jumped into Roe Park Pond.
Merv, I know you don't.
And I had to
You're
go.
exaggerating.
I had to go in after him up to my waist. I kid you not.
You're a proud father, Merv,
Yes.
but that ain't working with me.
Yes, but that happened.
No way.
Now, also, if you were at Memorial Day at the firehouse, what again is the name of the Little Drummers? The
Herman Wright with a W,
Okay.
Drumline.
What I'm going to do, and if anyone wants to help me, I want to make sure that these kids get new shirts and they're ready by 4th of July. They were just great kids. So if anybody wants to help out, I'm going to do it locally at the shop down there, and that's what I'm going to do for them. I also would like to do a thing, and what this is, it's the first annual We Love Our Children of the community. I'd like to do something up at Roe Park in August, right before school starts. And what it is just to have like get a bunch of people together from bounce houses to everything else for the kids, where donations would be put in for exactly things like this for the Herman Wright, where we see something where kids need something, we have some kind of money where we got the money for them. So I would
Be
like...
signing up for Little League. There's a lot of kids that don't sign up for Little League.
Exactly,
because
so-
of you'd be surprised,
Right.
people would be surprised with the cost to join Little League.
Exactly, and how many kids don't join up for these sports because there's just no money there and they're maybe too shy to families to say anything. So we have to do something about that in the community. For the police department, I have a few things to talk about this. Right now, we'll go through the report. Felonies was 0, misdemeanors was 4, violations 4, total arrest was 8. Summons Parking meter tickets 22, traffic 47, summons 2, total summonses 71. Revenues collected, meters was $3,600. That's a great job, and I have to thank Ken for that, because I know you're putting them all together, and that's terrific. The meter ticket fees is $50, village ticket fees $345, report fees $16. Total revenue is $4,011. That's a great thing. So, one other thing I want to bring up, and this is sensitive, so we're going to bring it up, and that's the SIU. Now, I know you're going to join in on this, and I would like the board to join in on this. So, there was a couple letters that were given to the village board members. One was from the president of the Chamber of Highlands, Jim Modlin. He wrote a letter that, I'm not going to read through this letter here, but his concern of the drugs that are in the community, and his concern that the village and the town needs to get back together on forming this SIU unit, and work together and let the community know that we're working together, and let West Point know that we're working together on this, to try to make a difference, and we are trying to make a difference in the community. There's also a letter that was given to the village board from the town supervisor, my dad, Mervyn Livesey, Bob Livesey, and joining together again that the SIU unit, we're welcoming the village board and their police department to join in on this, again, to fight the drugs in the community. And you know, it's not just, in my opinion, the drugs. There's other issues going on too. There might be continuous domestics going on somewhere. So this is what the investigation unit would be looking into, things like that. But mainly the priority is on drugs. Now, Mayor D'Onofrio replied with a letter to the town board, and again, do you want to read your letter, or it's not important to read it?
Well, it's
Yeah.
not that it's not important.
It's very important to read it, but,
It was a,
right.
Mr. Mayor, I think it's important that we read Mr. Modlin's too, because he suggested that he knows who the kingpins are.
yeah, that's true.
And I would love to know who these kingpins are. So, you know, I mean, this, if we're going to be
Do we
transparent.
have that letter?
Marv has it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we would love to know who these kingpins are so we could inform our police officers who they should be on the lookout for.
There were a couple questions from this, and I think there should be a sit-down with this gentleman. But he wrote a letter, it's dated June 2, so not long ago, and it was addressed to the town board and the village board. Dear Supervisor, Town Council members, Mayor, and village trustees, there is not a day that goes by that one hears of a tragic consequences of the misuse of prescription drugs and/or the trafficking sales of illegal drugs in our country. Unfortunately, it is no secret that we also have a problem in our community. In recent months, the Police Special Investigation Unit, SIU, was established as a cooperative effort between the town and the village. That's not exactly accurate either, but I'll continue. The SIU efforts led to the arrest of several drug dealers. These efforts were met with widespread public support. In recent weeks, though residents and businesses alike are expressing concern that the SIU is no longer active, they're seeing a return to business as usual in drug dealing activities and the return of drug kingpins to the community. I am sure you agree that this is unacceptable. As we continue to undertake action to improve our community's living and working environment, combating illegal drug use is something that must be done now. A first step in solving this problem is leveraging both the current town and village police resources in a cooperative and aggressive anti-drug effort. We need a plan to combat the sale of illegal drugs in our community as soon as possible. A qualified and well-respected individual needs to be in charge of this effort with the appropriate authority, responsibility, accountability, and resources to succeed. The effort needs to be communicated to the community. Individuals need to know how to report suspicious activities and feel confident action will be taken. Those who deal in illegal drugs must get the message. As elected officials charged with the responsibility of protecting our community's safety and welfare, I ask you to work together to aggressively address the illegal drug issues in our community. You have my full support in the Chamber of Commerce to make this effort a success. Who gave me this letter?
That's my guess.
Not now. Go ahead.
So, that's one of the letters that was delivered to the village board. And the mayor also received a letter from the town supervisor and joining with the town and trying to do something with this. Do you want to read your letter?
Yeah, my response, well, we should read, your father wrote a letter, the town supervisor wrote a letter, and I responded.
Right.
It's dated May 31. I am in receipt of your letter dated May 26, 2017 regarding the town's Special Investigative Unit. I believe the village board and I are very interested in sitting down with you and whomever you decide to discuss the particulars and what is in the best interest of the citizens of our community. We want to make sure the Orange County resources are being utilized and what the best course of action will be. Also, I believe it is in both boards' interest if we have a written document of which, at the very least, has a clear mission statement and sharing of personnel and/or equipment. Please let me know when and where you would like to meet regarding this issue, and I will be more than happy to accommodate. Making sure drugs are out of our community is a priority for this village administration. Is this yours?
So, Mr. Mayor, that was written by you on May 31st,
Yeah.
and the other letter from Mr. Modeling was on June 2nd.
Came
So
after-
you
came
al-
after
You
the-
already addressed this,
Yeah.
in essence?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You know, with that letter being said, and it was well said by the mayor, I believe both boards have an interest in getting a written document and a clear mission statement. I make a motion that we bring back the SIU back into the village. Let's move on that letter that he states. And I agree with the mayor. Let's have a clear mission and a sharing of personnel and equipment. Let's bring them back, let's put them together, and let them do the work that we need.
Well, I'll only say to you on your motion that I would rather let the two boards meet, decide what kind of structure this is going to have. Just to say to bring back the SIU, I'm not even sure who's on it anymore. I know also that the supervisor appointed one of his police officers, as he told me, to work with the DA's office on this same issue. And in the meeting that I had with the DA's office, which the supervisor was there, and I can only believe that that's why he's doing it, it was from that meeting that the village also assigned a police officer. They would put these two police officers, one from the village and one from the town, would partner with the drug task force that the county already has, which doesn't cost us directly anything. It's a special operation force. Our police department will share all information with the DA's office and the sheriff's office. They've assigned a special ADA to us, which all communities don't have. They issue search warrants 24/7, which we can't do. These are 24/7, you can get a search warrant. And they carry the liability. Again, they have the resources, they have the manpower, they have the surveillance, they have the electronics, they have the wiring. I think that should be looked at now again. You know, it should be, I mean, I was there. You guys need to do your research and figure out what you might want to do. But I can tell you, and I don't think the board wants me to get into this tonight. I don't want to get into the rest of this folder because it's about, there's things in here that should be discussed in executive session. And then if you all, the majority of you say, yeah, go tell the public, then I'll be more than happy to tell the public what went on. But the last SIU which I don't even know how many months, it was only months. That cost the village almost $20,000. Now, I don't know where that money's coming from, and I don't understand why it cost the village almost $20,000, and it didn't cost the town almost anything. I have those numbers. So it was kind of lopsided. So if we're going to be in this thing, let's be in it as partners, let's be in it together, let's make it work. There's no one in this room, and I'll speak for myself, that wants drugs in this community. I want a free village drug zone, not a school drug zone, a free community drug zone. Nobody has drugs in this community. If you're found with drugs, you're put on the train. You're put on the train, and you're not coming back. Now, that sounds harsh, and I don't know about legally, but there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to get these guys and get them out of here. So I got off the beaten track, but if you want to...
Well, you see,
Brian did make a motion.
Yeah, I did make a motion.
And I'd like to just say something on this. What I'd like to see also on this is that the village police department, with the new sergeant, contact the individuals of the police department that are currently there who may have an interest from the village of Howland Falls to take part of the SIU. These individuals that have an interest from the village of Howland Falls Police Department then be interviewed by the consultant and sergeant, okay?
I'm sorry, Mayor, I just want to know, I want to make sure I know what you mean. You mean members of the police department?
Members of the
Yes.
police department
Who are interested.
that may have an interest, none of them may have an interest to take part, but may have an interest to take part of the SIU. Contact the new sergeant we have and the consultant, okay? And if we have a couple members that are interested in the Village of Howland Falls Police Department to meet together with the town of Highlands, those individuals and a contact from the town of Highlands to discuss SIU, how they as police officers want to conduct the SIU. That's the motion that I would agree on with Brian, and I would second it.
Point of order. Yeah. Point of order. There's a motion on the floor.
Yes,
We're
there is.
discussing right now. We shouldn't be. There should have been a second,
You've
and then
got
there
a
should have been
second.
discussion.
For discussion.
I asked,
So-
You've got
wait,
two
A motion on the floor?
I made the motion, I'm looking for a second.
You got it.
Okay, yep.
Now you can discuss.
No, discussion.
Yeah, good.
And now that's what we're in. So Mr. Livesey was
You
having
shouldn't have
some
done that,
discussion right now. And
So anyway, what I'd like to do with the police department is what I just said. I would like to move forward on that, this being a police business, the police talk conducted by the police department, how this should be done. I want to see again, the sergeant that we have, Trophy, and the consultant, find the individuals from the Village of Howland Falls Police Department that are interested in working as SIU in that department, okay? And then therefore, meet with the town of Highlands, their individuals that are interested in the SIU.
Well, I think that's more or less.
Okay, so, and then meeting together, forming the SIU. Now, when it comes to the county, of course, those are great resources, and of course, we're going to grab them. But again, that is strictly up to the police department when they want to use those resources.
The SIU also served, in my opinion, a valuable resource because it was a means for people, if they see something suspicious, to report it anonymously, and they felt they could report it anonymously and have that kept close to the vest. And I say that because we've become a society where you see something suspicious and next thing you know, you see it on Facebook or Instagram or something else. This is really counterproductive because now people who are vaping are being viewed as smoking hashish or something like that. That's equally damaging to our community. We've got to know what we're talking about and keep that kind of discussion off of the internet.
So what we need, though, is a scope of services, and this was brought up in the beginning. So the scope of services would be meant to inform the public of what the cost is, and who's going to be doing what, i.e. what Mr. Livesey was just talking about. So I would like to make a motion to table this until we get a scope of services.
You need to vote on there is a motion.
I have a motion on the floor.
There's a motion on the
There's a
floor.
motion on the floor, it's been seconded.
And we can't table a motion.
No, you have to
Second.
vote on it. You need to, you have a motion, you have a second.
All right, so I don't believe that we have enough information to vote on this tonight
Jimmy, all we...
without a scope of services.
Excuse me. My motion was for the people to get together to talk about what we need. It's in Joe's letter. I believe in both boards' interests. We have a written document of which, at the very least, is a clear mission statement and sharing of personnel equipment. And I'm saying, let's get it together. It's a local problem. I like the county, too. I also like the state government and the federal government. It's a local issue. Let's get it together and let them decide, let them decide what we need with our input. That's the motion, and I had a second, and now we need to vote.
We're doing exactly what's in these letters here, and then again, for the consultant, and I don't want any delay in this, I want to move forward, and then once they meet, and they decide, hey, listen, Village of Highland Falls, Town of Highlands, and West Point, I'd like to get West Point in on this. West Point has some things going on. And once this is all together, the police will come back to us. The police department will come back. I want a fresh start on this. The past is the past on this. Let's get a fresh start on the SIU. Let's make it effective, and let's do that.
With a shared cost, because that is what the scope of services is about, and the cost.
That's going to all...
Right now, the village residents were taken over the barrel on the costs and the equipment. And I don't believe it was fair to the village residents to take that burden on when it benefited, and I'm not saying the SIU is a bad thing. If it benefited the whole village and the town, fantastic. But if it benefited everybody, everybody should be paying.
And you're right, Jim, but the thing is, though, after the police departments have their discussion, because these are the guys that are doing this, they're going to let us know the cost. Right now, we don't know the cost. They're going to let us know how this is going to conduct. That's their business. Let them get their discussions going now. Let them get their meetings going on this. Let's hear from them now, what's going to happen. Hey, guys, we're going to need A, B, and C. Okay? We don't know what that is yet, A, B, and C. We're not police officers. They are.
It's timely, too, because the county is going to be helping the emergency services and the police with radios, so we'll have
Absolutely.
better communication between the two forces. Yeah, but it's coming relatively soon.
May
So,
I make a
but-
comment? I just want to make sure I understand what motions are on the table, because I'm a bit confused. So, is there a motion that, I think I heard the mayor say, the village board and the town board should get together, and then implement a program. Then I heard Mr. Alward and Trustee Livesey say it should be the other way around. Is that the motion that is on the table, that the police forces get together, come back to the board with proposals and costs?
No, what I said
Okay,
is,
so-
I agreed with this letter by the mayor, that both boards' interest, a written document, it's my assumption, and a rational one, that when they get together, they will follow that protocol. I want the SIU to come back with the town. That's my motion, and they can figure everything out. We have professionals on our police force just as well as the town does.
And just to add some of the things that the boards have to talk about, you know, the budget for this particular unit, training, liability, whose liability is it going to be? A budget, whose car, structure, is there a contract between the village and town? Workman's comp, what's the plan? Phones. Somebody in New York City got one of the village's phones from the last SIU. I don't think you get that back. So there's a lot of things to talk about that won't, when I say that, I don't mean that that's going to take time,
Right,
because it's not going to take time.
right.
Not for me, it's up to the town board, how fast they want to move. I'm 24/7. I'll meet tonight at midnight. I don't care. Okay, so I'm just saying, again, I don't know that I'm confused, but I don't blame you for saying that, because,
Sounded a little.
I think that the two boards, if Mr. Howard, if his motion is this letter, I don't know if it is though, which is that the boards get together. And at the same time, the boards have to be, well, I can't speak for the town board, but this village board, the five of us, also have to be in sync with who's going to be on the SIU. Not that we pick the person, but who's recommended to us.
Right.
That still has to be done.
Well, this,
And,
We're
and I wouldn't throw the county out. And I didn't say anyone here said that.
No.
But they have everything we want. They have everything we want. And with this last SIU, they have everything that we ended up paying for.
I'll just
The
say.
village doesn't know that yet.
I'll just say this, okay? And you know this. The town and the village police departments are working together. There's medical calls I go on all the time. They're both there, okay? Thank God they're both there. There's backup that's up here in the village. There's backup that's down in Fort Montgomery. They're working together all the time. The motion that we're putting out there is just to start this and get it rolling. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. We want to move this forward. We don't want to sit on it. We're just moving it forward. We're going to get some good research out of this. The police departments could do their part in this. We could set up after a couple weeks, figure out where we are. We could set up a meeting just to find out where we are. But at least we're moving on this. Okay?
And Mr. Livesey, just so you know, we have two great police departments. I believe what the problem is a revolving door justice system that plea bargains things down. Hence, we see kingpins back out on the street, per Mr. Modlin's letter. So, should we only be looking at the SIU, or should we be lobbying the court system to be more strict about the laws that are already on books?
That's beyond our scope, the board legislature. The issue is, as Mr. Livesey said, all we want to do is get it started so that people can meet, get going, and then the residents can say, the town and the village are working together.
Listen,
That's all I'm asking for. I got a second.
the consultant, okay, Ken Scott may say tomorrow to the police department, he's going to put out something, we're interested on police officers who are interested in participating in the SIU, okay? I don't know if you're going to get anybody that's going to step forward, okay? You may get 5 people who are going to step forward. That's great. For the town of Highlands, for what they have down there, I know that there's people that are interested in doing it, they're going to step forward. They're going to meet together, it's real simple.
I know we
Police,
have a manpower shortage too.
I understand that, but that's police talk. Let the police do their talk. Let them come back to us and tell us, this is what the deal is. Are we all good with that?
I'm not against the SIU. I just have concerns and questions that I think some of them got aired out tonight, and we will continue to discuss.
I got a lot
I'd
of-
like to call the question.
I'm with you,
and
Jim.
And get a vote.
I got a lot of concerns and questions myself, and I expect the answers from the police departments.
I'd like to call the question and get a vote, please.
Okay. Gina, do you have the motion?
All that I got out of that?
Yeah.
That trustee Howard wanted to bring back the SIU under the terms of your letter, stating what you had in your letter, stating cooperation of both town and village, and how you stated your letter. I don't have a copy of your letter with me.
Yeah, the only word I would say is to discuss.
Good?
Well, wait, what do you mean by discuss? My motion is that I want them back together. It's up to them to start mapping out a plan.
To discuss, to get things together.
Right.
That's what they're going to do.
Right. Can we have a vote?
You have it, Gina?
To discuss the plan, bring the SIU together.
All right, and we have a second, I think Charlie.
Charlie Murphy.
Okay. You want to do roll call? Roll call.
Roll call, trustee Alward,
Aye.
trustee Livesey,
Aye.
trustee Ramus.
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Mayor D'Onofrio.
Absolutely, aye.
Good.
Mr. Howard?
Yeah. No, I said no.
Charlie?
Reports. Trustee Alward and I went to a session over in Goshen on the upcoming census, where the focus of this particular meeting was on updating the maps. We haven't had a lot of change. Unfortunately, we've lost some buildings as opposed to having new buildings built. But I do want to emphasize to everybody, when we do the census, the 10-year census, it is imperative that we get good numbers, because the estimated annual update, believe it or not, our median household income in this community is now $90,000, which is way above the maximum for qualifying for many of the state consolidated funding application grants.
Although a woman who was at the table said that she had gone through the village and knows that the median income is not $90,000.
That was an individual from the Orange
Right.
County Planning Department.
And we did some
We're
network.
all in agreement that these numbers are wrong, but what I'm stressing tonight is get in the mindset that we need to get a good sample of what our real incomes are when the next census is taken.
And we're not the only village facing this. There are other people there who have not received grants because they've been told you make too much money, your median is too high. So Charlie and I did some networking, we got people's names, and we're gonna start working together, because we are not a median of $90,000. I don't think that's appropriate for the village.
I just have two more quick things. I do want to compliment Sergeant Torpy, because by golly, he's been on the case and working hard to catch those irresponsible dog walkers, and he has issued the first ticket to a repeat offender. And
Wasn't
then,
my dog.
it was not,
Your
no.
dog is drowning geese.
Yeah, my dog's going after the geese.
Hunting without a license. Also, the library celebrated this last Saturday with a ribbon cutting by Suzanne Brum. The renovation of the parking lot level facility has now taken place, and we've got an expanded library available to us. So please go and look at the new renovation and come up with good uses for it.
Charlie did a nice job that night as MC, very nice. It was a great affair.
That's it.
Mr. Ramus?
All right, yeah, a couple of things. So the water department, I was up there a few times. They're cleaning up the oil spill, stabilizing the area, planting seed. So that's taken care of on that end. Also, as you read in the paper, we did switch back online on May 22nd. Hydrants were flushed this past 30th and 31st. The town finished theirs on the 1st of June. So if anybody has any brown water issues out there, that was the headlines in last week's paper. Please let us know, because if you find brown water out there, one of the potential causes could be a leak. So that'll be our next avenue. They're doing a great job up there. Spoke with Kevin also about the tanks. There are some issues with some growth on the outside of them that is natural in a shaded area. So not only we believe the money was budgeted and
Power wash.
in the last budget, we have to see where that is and where it went. Hopefully, it's still there to take care of those tanks. Kevin does have some figures and a company to come in and do that. Let's see how much money we do have left, and if we could start to do some more clearing of some of the trees to help alleviate that problem, it would be great. When the cleaning company does come in, they guarantee it for 1 year that we won't get no growth back on those tanks.
Jim, you're right, though. We have to look at the foliage around the tanks, a wider swath than what we have.
Yes. Also, there was a couple of leaks that were taken care of, and the hydrant on South Street is in the works. I spoke with Gary and Kevin. They're trying to get their schedules and their men together to take care of that issue. As far as the wastewater treatment plant, I've been down there, spoke with the supervisor, a couple of the other workers down there. The most pressing thing that we need to do down there is the belt filter press. It cost us about $34,000 in parts and labor, and it's just beyond its life expectancy. I know the previous administration talked about this as a project that needs to get done, and it's going to be a large expense. So we're going to have to figure out how we're going to have to pay for that. I did speak with the plant operator, and we do have some budgetary proposals on that. And I was also informed that we may be able to do some in-house work as far as the removal of the existing system that's there. Because when the new system comes in, it's on a skid. And they just, as long as the old one's out, they slide that right in, and it's just a matter of hooking up the pipes and the electric.
Yeah.
So we're working on that diligently, and we just have to look at our budget.
We did budget for that, though. If I remember right, we budgeted for it, we got the reserve funds in there, too.
Where they put all of that dirt behind where they were digging, did they remove that dirt, or did they spread that out, some of that?
All of the contaminated dirt was
They
removed.
took out, then they spread out?
Everything was removed, new fill was brought in.
So that's all new fill that I see spread
Correct.
out all down
Yeah.
there? All right.
They stockpiled it over across the street, hauled it away.
Good.
Public comment. No, Jimmy, did you have something?
No, I'm good. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
My name is Anthony Plella. I think a good, better way and a cheaper way to address the drugs in the community is so I evangelized about for the whole day, almost the whole day today. I think reaching out to people, and I encourage people to come to church, and then they'll get a sense of community, a better sense of community. And once people get that sense of community, then people might naturally turn away from the drugs. So I think a better and cheaper approach to the drugs on the street, because they're just people too. I think the best and cheapest way to approach this drug use problem is to maybe have a service that reaches out to people, and then people would naturally just gravitate away from the drugs. So maybe if there was a service or a group formed to reach out to people, I think that would be the best and cheapest way to address the drugs problem.
Thank you.
How you doing? Jose Sierra, the owner of 65 Snyder. I've had some water issues for about 2 years now. It's kind of been dragged on by the previous administration. I would like for you guys to take a look at it. I got some water damage in the house. There's a pipe that goes from the front of my house on Snyder Avenue, goes through my whole property into the middle school parking lot. I've had that pipe filmed. I've had a professional company come, a construction company come. It's the town's fault. Town of Village admitted it on 4/4 of 16 at the 1 hour and 2 minute mark. I just need an answer. I've dug in the pipe out now. It's exposed. I just need to know if it's something you're going to take care of. If not, I just need to fill it. So I have copies of the videos, tape. You should have that on file. If not, just please let me know what you need. And if somebody can just reach out to me, I know it's going to take some time, but if somebody can just reach out to me, I expect that.
Jose, I started today to locate, find, working with the clerk, any files, any letters, any videos, all that we have.
Okay.
All right, so we can review it, and I know this has been going on for a couple of years. That's a
Okay.
long time.
Yeah.
It needs to be rectified, needs to be rectified by whoever the responsibility is.
Okay.
If it's ours, it's ours.
But my number and my email on file, so when you guys get the chance, please just reach out to me.
Didn't Kevin Hurst and Bob Millen meet with you over this?
The village architect came to the house as well.
Right.
And then after that, the village accepted the responsibility on 4/4/2016. Bob Melton said that it was our problem. Actually, the village attorney was present and confirmed, are you saying it's our issue? And he said yes. And then he also proceeded to say that there is no easement for the property, that the pipe is just there. So I came back 6 months later, and then they told me that it wasn't their problem anymore. They asked me what proof I had. Well, they sent the village architect out there. I was assuming the architect would have gave them something as well. But I had the pipe filmed and submitted a copy of the pipe. There's 21-foot of pipe that's no longer there. It's a clay pipe that is no longer there at all. All that water is now coming into my house.
I remember there was a long discussion. I have a lot in my file on that.
Okay. So
We can refer to the file to
Okay.
4/4/16.
So with what you have and what we're trying to find,
No, I just wanted,
No,
I
that's
remember
fine.
going out there.
Yeah,
And,
like I said,
okay.
some steps were taken, and thought it was going to be resolved, and then it bounced back, and this is a little bit over 2 years now at this point, so.
okay.
All right, thank you, guys, I appreciate it.
Actually, if I
No, go
may,
ahead.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Sierra, so it was Mr. Fusco that came up, I believe, then? Or you don't know?
I don't remember the gentleman's name, Salt and Pepper Hair, the
Okay,
architect, but Gary Boyce,
Al Fusco.
okay,
I think.
Gary Boyce,
perfect.
Bob
All
Mellon.
right,
Bob Mellon, Kevin, everybody's came out.
okay.
I paid Kevin to film the pipe on the property, because there's actually an access between my house and Mr. Miller's house.
Okay.
The pipe is exposed, you can actually just, so I paid Kevin to do it, I submitted that copy. The village then had Kevin film it from the outside drain and from the street going on. Once you get into the water drain directly in front of my house, you only get about 8 feet in, and then the pipe is
It's collapsed.
clogged.
Okay.
And then there's about 20 foot of piping from there onto my property, that's just no longer there.
Okay, all right, great. Thanks.
No problem, thank you.
My name is Cindy Maudlin, and my husband is the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Jim Maudlin, who wrote the letter that you're referring to this evening. Nowhere in his letter did he state that he knew who these drug kingpins were. He simply said that people from the businesses and from the community have been making comments to him about this. They've been coming to him, telling him that they're worried about this, telling them that they're seeing this activity. And as the Chamber of Commerce president, we're trying to build businesses in this village. We're trying to bring people back, trying to fill the storefronts. This is what he's getting at when he's talking about this. So this isn't anything about him knowing who these people are. So you kind of distorted his letter. Jim?
The
Yes?
letter's right there, ma'am.
Would you like to read it?
No, listen, this,
Jim?
I gotta do, it's very hard sometimes, this is public comment.
Okay, the letter was totally distorted. If you read the section where he talks about it, that is the fair thing to do.
Cindy, don't sit down. This is for the art walk. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Barbara Minetti speaking right now as the Secretary of the Chamber of Commerce. This is just a point of information. The letter that the President wrote was distributed to the membership, and it was discussed at the Chamber of Commerce meeting on Friday, and there was a lot of participation in the discussion and interest in rectifying, as he said, either perception or reality to the degree that exists to do something about it.
Hi there, I'm Tim Clayton from Surpass Chemical. I'm here to address the bid opening for the water treatment chemical bids on May 12th. We were notified, despite being the winner of 5 of the 9 items, that we were disqualified for that bid on May 18th, and this is the first board meeting to discuss that. I printed out some of the documents that goes into detail of each item. Out of 5 of those items, 1 of those items is a specialty product that does take further testing. 4 of those items are commodity chemicals, which I do illustrate the savings that was prevented from selecting another company. Out of the 5 chemicals, 1 chemical is cited as testing needed to be done. Out of the other 4, relationship was the cited purpose for denial of our bid. Thank you.
Sir, I'm not understanding what you just said, I'm sorry. So,
okay.
what did you say? Say it again.
We had
You put a bid in
a bid.
on different
correct,
chemicals.
which was opened up on May 12th.
Right.
Those 9 items, out of those 9 items, we were the lowest bid for 5 of those items.
Okay.
Now, when you're usually low bid, you win that bid. Out of those 5 items, we were disqualified because of whatever purpose. We inquired what that purpose was, and were given a letter that detailed 1 chemical, you needed to do some testing, which was completely valid. The other 4 chemicals, it was based on the relationship of your current supplier.
Okay.
And that's what we're
Okay, I'll pull out the records tomorrow, and
Excellent, I have
One
copies I
way-
can leave too.
either way, I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I have a few things. I'm Sharon Guy. Okay. I wanted to ask you about how you were talking about the grass not being cut and all that. So one of the things that Jimmy had brought up was the fire hydrants and things like that. I wanted to know if I should contact Gary Boyce and Kevin over this issue, because I just want to state that there is a mound of dirt. Don't know where it came from, but it's been there for a couple of years. Right next to that fire hydrant where Nicole's and the motel is. And that really should be pulled out of there and leveled out the way it was, so there's easy access to that fire hydrant. So do I contact Gary about that?
Ms. Guy, I'm sure you could give them a call, but I will definitely follow up with them tomorrow also. But if we get them from both sides, we can get that done.
Okay, so that's one item. You had talked about the drug meetings with with all the county and all that. Are those meetings open to the public?
This particular one wasn't, because some information that is talked about, and even in meetings that we're probably going to have of what we agreed to do tonight, are sensitive and can't be open to the public.
I understand.
You know, I've been thinking a lot about that, and I knew that question might come up, not tonight, but some other time. I think it's important that we don't let every drug dealer in town know exactly when what's going on. Otherwise, you understand that.
I do understand.
And-
But
and not-
I was thinking more or less just the questions that you're gonna have between the police and all that. I think people should be in on that,
And Sharon, that's why my point is to let the police talk. Let them talk police.
Yep.
Because as the mayor's saying right now, I don't want this all getting out there, you know?
Okay, couple more things. I had mentioned at a chambers meeting before about the wall that Aristote's has along Crystal Lake. That has been dilapidated, has fallen down, it's a mess there. It's the first thing people see, besides the sign for the south gate up on the corner by my neighborhood, when they come in. So you have the welcome to Village of Highland Falls down there in front of the other motel, but then you have this huge wall, it's all overgrown
Are you-
with weeds.
Are you talking about the one that has the railroad ties?
Yes, they're all full, it's been a mess for years. And I had mentioned it at the Chambers meeting, but I don't think that was the appropriate venue. And I don't think anybody wants to approach Mr. Aristotle, you know, he's
We
hard
can't
to get a
approach
hold of.
Mr. Aristotle, but we can approach the family.
Okay, so that's good. I thought about this, when you're talking about the trees being planted. Might not be such a good idea to put fruit trees along Main Street, but maybe up at Roe Park and stuff. If we could get some fruit trees around, you know, a lot of kids running around, it'd be a good idea for them to have some fruit to pick instead of just flowering pretty trees. Sorry, this is just an
You
opinion.
don't want no more geese though up there eating the fruit.
You know, they're up there playing basketball, what the heck?
We'll get seagulls.
You know what
up
they're gonna
there.
do with those apples, don't you, Sharon? And then you're gonna be here.
Trees up there, we might as well have some fruit.
Yeah, well,
Soybeans, apples.
all right, thank you.
Okay, wait, I got more. Merv, you had talked about shirts for drummers, are they a local group?
Yeah.
that you're talking about?
Yes, they are, yeah.
I would be happy to volunteer, maybe sit in front of the grain unit or whatever, the farmer's market down there, and with a table and a sign to try to collect some money for that.
God bless them kids, that's all I can say.
You'll have to get in contact with me about
But
that.
Ann Molina, I spoke to her the other day, she's gonna get me all their sizes. And this shirt shop that's down here, I'm gonna get them ordered because I wanna make sure that for the 4th of July, they look super sharp out there.
You were talking about interviews for engineer and for a lawyer. Is the engineer like a full-time thing that is constantly hired for the town? Or is it just for a particular project?
It's for projects.
For project, for all projects, not any one in particular?
No, correct.
Okay. And so you're going to be interviewing for another lawyer as well?
We're gonna interview, this is a new administration, we're gonna interview attorneys and engineers, and we might end up with the same, and we might end up with something different.
Okay, because I was wondering, because I know that you're the village board and you're representing of the people, I was thinking that maybe the people might want to have a say in that as well. Because I don't know anything that Ms. Elise has never, has done wrong, and I'm thinking she's a pretty good gal. So that's just my opinion. And I think,
So you wanna be in on the interview?
well, I wouldn't mind being there. I'd like to see, you know, some people and do a little fact checking and stuff like that. Because I think she's a pretty good gal, and I'd like to put.
No
my
one said anything
input on
different.
that.
Okay.
I'll give you your 20 later.
Anything? You done?
I am.
All right. Next. Yes.
Patrick Flynn, I just want to commend Jim Maudlin for having the strength to write the letter he wrote. It's not easy in a small community to step out and say what everybody is thinking and say what everybody is talking about, and no one wants to say anything because some people are their neighbor or some people are their friend or some people are being protected by other people and nobody wants to say anything. I have to commend Jim Maudlin because he has the strength to do that, and I think it's a great thing that he's done. I have to say that the SIU, Special Investigation Unit, is very vital to this community. Within a short few months, it wasn't just that one drug bust. That was their first step. They did a ton of work, and they had a lot more coming up. Unfortunately, it was disrupted, and it basically was put to rest. And it's unfortunate because there was a lot more investigating that they'd already completed, but not ready to put it to bed. They have done a lot of groundwork, and I know it was stated that we'd like to start over. I think the first step should be to talk to Chief Quinn and Joe Cornetta and find out what work has already been completed and why they went the way they went with the SIU unit that was very successful. I agree using Orange County resources is key. But again, when you get some at the head of the actual investigative unit, let them work with that person rather than 6 people going in 6 different directions. We had a very successful unit. I think that unit should continue, and those that want to jump on board can jump on board. It's important to know that the problems the SIU brought up have been around for 25 years. The difference is this SIU unit didn't hold back. They went after the people, doesn't matter who their name was, who their friends were, it didn't matter. They brought a lot more light to to what the problems are both here, and they're already working with West Point, and they actually assisted in what went on in West Point. So that's very important to know, and that's why the chief and Joe Cornetta should be contacted so that all the work that has been done, we move on from there and we don't start fresh again. It's a lot of talking, but we need action, and that's what this unit did. There's been some comments about $20,000, which I'm not sure that number is correct. I'll be checking on that, but with the millions that we spend and the $3.8 million that the previous board bettered the financial situation of this village, I'm not upset as a taxpayer spending $20,000 for the work that the SIU unit did. I don't believe that $20,000 was spent, and I will be checking that. But if it was $20,000, I applaud the unit for doing the work they did. And I would rather spend it in getting the drugs out of our community than in some of the other areas that it's being spent in. I have to say again, the unit did fantastic. I want to commend also Jack Quinn and Joe Cornetta for putting this group together. Oh, okay. And I'm just on a separate note. I know this is public comment, but it seems that depending on who it is, there seems to be the questions are answered to some people, but not to others. So if it is going to be public comment, it would be nice that all residents are treated the same. If you look at the last several meetings, there were people that had their questions answered, and others, no, this is public comment, we can't say anything. So I'm okay with that. And I think maybe the board may want to look into, because the previous board answered questions. In fact, Mr. Ramus was particular about constantly asking the same questions, and we constantly answered them. I think that instead of public comment, as long as there's a time limit on it, maybe this is the place for people to ask questions and for them to be answered if you have the information. If not, post it or answer it at another meeting, because the public would like the information they're asking about. So that's a thought to think about for future meetings. Thank you.
Hi, Kathy Keene, Cooks Lane. I'm just wanted to ask the board, the last time we met 3 weeks ago, I spoke about zombie properties, and I spoke to Elise about that, and I'm just wondering if you had made any progress, or, what are we doing with this? Are you going to move forward and start doing what New Windsor does, to, bring some revenue?
Well, very
to stop this?
briefly, already before this meeting, me and Trustee Ramus spoke about a couple properties. Jim, if you want to go into this, it's the building department that really has to look at these vacant lots that you're, with the zombie properties. To find out, first of all, is there actually an owner, or is there not an owner, or is the bank own this? Which, that's going to tell us down at the assessor's office.
Right.
So there's some work to do before we actually begin to say what we're going to do with this property.
Right.
I've seen your post on Facebook.
Right.
It's a great idea, but however, we have to make sure that we do this legally of what we're going to do.
Right, right.
And we don't want to say anything out there that's...
Right. But the assessor's office, they're aware of which houses are empty, which ones are bank foreclosed. There is a lot of them out there. I don't know if Elise had a chance to look at Governor Cuomo's zombie fine.
I have write-ups on the zombie property law.
Right.
And the recent modifications to it, which I had provided the prior board, and I can certainly provide this board again.
Right, because that was fines $500 per day per building. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. I live next door to two of them. I wish I got $500 a day from living next. And it's something that costs, if you own a house, it takes away from your property value. It makes the neighborhood derelict. And then the second thing I wanted to talk to, which Merv touched on, And again, as your police investigations move on, we do have a program within New York State where if a home or a homeowner or occupant of a building is selling drugs, we can actually, as a municipality, seize that property. So what I wanted to do is think about that. Think about the good things we could do. We could take a drug house and we can knock it down, maybe give it to a wounded warrior. What would happen? You'd make the area nicer? Right. You would, it's a win-win, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's something that you need to start thinking about, and we have to start doing things. You know, I'm up here talking, and it's very frustrating. I would like to see some action done here as a, you know, a homeowner. I mean, I've been sitting next to a zombie property for 6 years. 6 years. And they'll never sell.
Right. Well, as I said before, we are looking at these things and we are moving forward. We haven't been in office that long
No,
yet.
I know.
But with the building department downstairs, we've already had discussion before this meeting, me and Mr. Ramus, about a couple other properties where I haven't seen any violations on them yet. So the building department, they're working hard, but yes, there's a whole handful of properties
He has a list.
out there, and
He
there's,
does. He has a list, and he knows which houses are empty, and he drives around once a month to check on those houses. So he knows all the zombie houses, who the zombie houses are. So it's already done. You know, and I mean, that's all you have to do is change your fine levels. That's it. I mean, you could start, if you can't wait for New York State, change your fine levels. Do what New Windsor does. They charge $1,000 per grass cut,
well, I'll tell you what, by the next meeting, I'll have a better answer for you. How's that sound?
you know.
Kathy,
See.
on the zombie properties and the law in New Windsor, have they been successful in actually collecting
Yes.
the money?
They do. They will send the bill to the bank, and I spoke to the town's lawyer about that. Very smart guy. You can reach out to him. He says that they pay immediately. They don't care about a couple $100s, but once you start billing them $1,000, you get their attention. You do. So what they do is mostly that they pay them, or they just levy the taxes, and they'll pay it when the tax comes. But it's per instance. So every time it happens, they hit them with 1,000, hit them again, hit them again, and adds up. That's revenue. It's money. You know, like I said, I wish I could charge them 1,000. I live next to two. I wish I could charge them $1,000. I'd be a happy lady.
Sure.
So I mean, it's up to you guys. That's money. I mean, the mayor D'Onofrio. What did you said? If Albany gave you $1, you would drive up there.
Mine say $1, but I'll go for a little bit,
I'm handing you.
not about $1, but
$2.
I'm $2.
$100.
$100, but I'm handing you thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. Come on, let's get going.
We'll have a good answer for you at the next meeting.
Yeah.
We'll definitely,
All right, and quickly, 2 seconds, I promise. So, in the beginning, when the SIU unit was up and operational, it was great. I did not see the drug dealers, the gutter rats, as we call them. They were gone from my neighborhood. But last couple of months, I guess since they've been on hiatus, they're all out. I see them everywhere. I see them on Cooks, Mountain.
Can you
Cat-
share that information with the police department?
Oh, yeah, I have.
No,
I have.
can,
I have, but
Recently?
you guys have not recently, but you guys have cameras. You have cameras there. So you have cameras on Cooks and Mountain. You can see they're all out in force. And
would you share that with them?
Yeah, sure. And but I'm just saying they're all out there. So instead of being on Main Street, they're cutting through all the neighborhoods. I have small kids. Anybody has small kids? You don't want to see that. Really, I mean, you know what I'm saying? We really don't want to see that in our neighborhood. We work too hard. You know what I'm saying? We pay too much money in taxes, and we work very hard for our homes. We shouldn't have to live.
Thank you.
like this.
You're right.
Pat, let me clarify something. I probably didn't make myself clear. Ask my wife, that's an issue. I'm not asking to start all over again. What I'm asking for is to start, let me finish please, is to start the idea that they're going to meet. I expect that those gentlemen down there are going to be meeting with us up here. They're going to be talking about what they've done before, how things are going. I want to take it off the ground. That's why I brought it up. I don't expect everything to start from the very beginning and change things. I want them to share their knowledge with our group will share their knowledge with them, and we're gonna finally get together on this.
Brian, I totally agree, and I'll say it a different way. If the police department in the town knows of, if they were working on other deals, other situations, other things activities that shouldn't be going on, I would hope they wouldn't just, discard all that stuff and not think about it anymore. That whatever they have, they would either move forward with, or share with the county, or share with the village.
I'm sure
They should.
Yeah,
If they don't, shame on them.
No, I'm sure they are and they will. It's just that people.
Well, that's not what we heard tonight, though. We heard that they have all these things that they were in the works.
But it got disbanded. And now
Yeah, but
we're
if
asking
somebody
to get back.
knows, if someone knows if one police officer knows of what was in the works, he should share that information so it moves on.
Well, I don't know if it hasn't been shared. I don't know.
Well, then, okay, we'll find out. Okay, anything, yes.
Martha Allward, the Village. The SIU was good because it's here. Getting a cooperative agreement with the county is great, but the county's on the other side of the mountain. We're isolated. It's nice to have somebody right here in the village who knows what's going on, to get the backup, the things you said about maybe the DA. Many years ago, Mayor, you did a talk in the church over on Muller, and one of the issues that was brought up was that you bring a drug dealer in, it's a fairly minor offense maybe, they dismiss it. What's he going to do? He's going to go back out in business. He's either low level, medium level, whatever. So if they don't follow through, bringing him to court isn't going to do a darn bit
Well,
of
that was
good.
brought up tonight, you're right.
But having somebody here, the village felt better having the SIU when it was in place. And it's a shame that it was disbanded because of the election. People, ordinary people like me, having nothing to do with what you guys are doing, felt better. There are people who expressed maybe the police weren't listening to them, maybe the police were dismissing what they said or not treating things as serious. When the SIU came in, those comments disappeared.
Just let you know one thing about the, when they go before the courts and the judges sort of just let them go, as you're saying, I spoke with Judge Donaldson, and starting in the end of June now, and he's excited about it, and so is the other judge, and that's the community service program's going to start up again. They need a little bit more time to do that. When I was a town councilman, I was very much involved with the community service, and it only goes on Saturdays and Sundays, and I have to tell you something. Those members, the people that were involved with the community service, because they were sent there by the judge, they hated it. They could not stand it that their Saturdays and Sundays was going to be picking weeds around a sign all day long. So that's one thing that's going to help out a lot. So instead of the judge just saying, well, this is it, you got no money or whatever, and I don't believe that's really happening too much like that, but now they're going to have community service to do on the weekends, and that's going to be not good for them.
And I will tell you that one young fella who had to do community service, he did it so well that he got hired by the village.
Right.
And he's still doing well. So that was good. Okay, is there anything else? Okay, we're going, no, you had, that's one time, that's it.
So that's gonna be policy?
That is the policy. That is the policy.
Okay.
Is there anyone else?
Public comment?
Yeah.
You go first. The only thing I want to say, Joe.
John, you need to get up, buddy, I'm sorry.
I'm talking as a resident, built Holland
Yeah.
Falls. Now, the way that people talk anymore, the village of Holland Falls is actually a nice place. I live right around the corner from her. I don't see these drug dealers I'm not saying they're not there, but the way that they're saying they're there, it's a little ridiculous. It's like we live in Newburgh, and that's not true.
All right, that's it. No, I can't, I'm
It's
sorry.
really not true. It sounds a little
Jim?
ridiculous, the issue that we're saying that we have here. It's,
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I would like to have a motion to go into executive session on personnel and contracts. Quite a few things we need to discuss, and I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Motion by Merv, second by Charlie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Umbrella?